11 councillors, including the leader of Burnley Borough Council, Thames Water has declared a major incident after Storm Ciarán. Hamas believes it can defeat Israel, but acknowledges the heavy price. 11 councillors, including the leader of Burnley Borough Council, Afrajiab Anwar, have resigned from the Labour Party in protest at Keir Starmer's refusal to call for a ceasefire in the Gaza war. The group had tried everything and wanted Labour to come back to its core values of fighting for social justice. Starmer has urged Israel to obey international law and called for humanitarian pauses in the fighting, but refused to call for an immediate ceasefire, a stance that has divided the party. 16 Labour frontbenchers and a third of the entire parliamentary party have either called for a ceasefire or shared others' calls backing a ceasefire on social media. Protests and vigils have been taking place in Tel Aviv, Israel, calling for an end to Israel's offensive on Gaza and the release of hostages seized by Hamas on October 7th. The families of the hostages are struggling to keep hope alive despite Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's promises to bring the captives back home. Accusing Netanyahu and his far-right coalition of fueling divisive politics at the cost of weakening Israel's defense, the protesters were also among the huge crowds who flooded Israel's streets over judicial reforms, which were intended to give the government unprecedented powers earlier this year. Anger at the government, and in particular Netanyahu, is mounting, and deep divisions and tensions in Israeli society are coming to the fore. Hamas believes it can defeat Israel, but acknowledges the heavy price being paid by those on the ground. The Hamas attack on 7 October has been dubbed the biggest miscalculation in the history of all miscalculations. Hamas stands accused by human rights groups of deliberate civilian killings, abductions, and indiscriminate attacks during events now the subject of an active investigation by the International Criminal Court. In response, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to eradicate Hamas in Gaza. The bombing has leveled the north of Gaza and killed over 9,000 Palestinians, according to Palestinian Health Ministry figures. Hamas thinks the attack has broken a covenant that has existed between the Israeli army and the people since the declaration of the state in 1948.